Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hey. So we are starting. Okay, so yesterday we discussed how uh, the different types of anarthas arising from previous sinful life, anarthas arising from previous pious life, anarthas arising from aparadhas. So we just started anarthas arising from aparadhas. And in that we said the most significant one is namaparad. Sevaparad, while it can get mitigated by a proper chanting, uh, constant continuous service and certain mantras, if one becomes careless about overcoming these or stopping these evaparadas, it could result in be convert into nama aparada, which will then become an obstacle. Now in nama aparada, there are two types. One is if nama aparadas are done unconsciously. But still we can understand that there is nama parada if there is lack of advancement, right? Then what is the solution? The only solution is to chant constantly the names of Krishna. Nothing else will help us overcome that nama parada. Only the nama can give us mercy. So we have to constantly chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now the second part is when the aparada is nama aparada is committed with full knowledge, then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, then the following points must be taken into account. So this is all with full knowledge we are doing the nama aparadas, right? So now Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will talk about all the nama aparadas and what is the result. The first one is sadhu ninda, or criticism of Vaishnavas is the first offense. The word ninda means animosity. What is animosity? Means enmity. Right. So let's see the dictionary meaning. Okay, animosity means antipathy, hostility, enmity, opposition, antipathy, hostility, animosity. So basically, this is like enmity, right? Having some kind of enmity towards a Vaishnava. Opposition. See, opposition also. So, and malice means actually ill will, meaning wanting something not good for somebody. As well as criticism. Criticism is the literal meaning. Ninda actually means criticism, but ninda also means these things: animosity, which is enmity; malice, some kind of ill will; want to do some harm to somebody, not necessarily physically, but even their position, anything, just some kind of, we want to just harm somebody in some way. It's malice, right? We want to harm somebody by talking bad about them and bringing their position, reputation, like that, right? So enmity, some kind of malice, some kind of ill will towards a person, or criticism. Now, see this criticism, that there's a difference between criticism versus and correction. This we have to understand, right? Criticism has no good intention behind. Criticism is just, like we'll again look up dictionary meaning for criticism. The expression of disapproval of someone or something on the basis of perceived faults or mistakes. Now, um, now this criticism has this condemnation, like a uh, uh, negative intention, negative connotation. Mm. But correction has a positive intent, right? Like, and of course, correction means somebody's done a fault, somebody's done a mistake, but there is a way. We don't have to necessarily criticize the person, right? We can correct the person, but we can correct only if we have the authority to correct. So that is why this whole aspect of spiritual authority is very, very important. Uh, See, while in the material world, we don't want these designations, right? Nobody is higher, nobody is lower types. But even though we might not want it, but it's all there, right? As in office, there is, in a organization, it is there. In society, it is there. In spiritual life, it is absolutely there. It needs to be absolutely there, right? Um, but unfortunately, I see a lot of devotees not understanding this whole spiritual authority business. They just treat everybody equally, right? Many. I'm not generalizing. Many, most of them, they don't understand that there is something called a spiritual authority, and spiritual authority needs to be recognized, right? We know that Vrinda Devi came down as Tulsi Maharani because she did not follow authority. She did not follow what Radharani had instructed her to do, and so she had to come down. She was literally like cursed. Uh, so without willingness to follow spiritual authority, we can't go to the spiritual world, because spiritual world is all about spiritual authorities. We can't transgress. We can't just be independent in the spiritual world. Okay. So in the material world, when we are practicing bhakti here, the same system has to be followed. And the authority is not just the Diksha Guru. Many people have this misconception saying that, oh, my Guru says I will do. Many also don't do even if Guru says, right? That is, anyway, that is Guru Avagya, right? But the important part is understanding whom the Guru has put in a position of authority. If Guru has put somebody in a position of authority, then that person has to be respected as good as Guru. As in, they have to be respected, considering that they are now representatives of the Guru, right? So that we so people who are being appointed as representatives have the right to correct. Actually, it's their responsibility to correct. But others, we have to understand our own position, right? Um, uh, if there is somebody whom we are mentoring, we can correct them, right? But we cannot correct somebody who's superior to us, and somebody who may or may not be superior or inferior, but we have no connection with them. Meaning we just don't know them. They just like Hare Krishna devotees. As in, we know them, we've seen them, that's all. We don't have to go and correct everybody. We don't have to correct the world. But if we don't correct people who are dependent on us, then that's we are not doing our responsibility. And more so for people who have taken spiritual responsibilities, like maybe preaching leader, yatra leader, bhakti vriksha leader, right? And going on up till temple president, etc., etc. Right? But there is no need to criticize. This criticism is not constructive. Constructive is just to follow authorities and figure out a way so that something wrong being done can be avoided. That is constructive. Criticism is not constructive, right? Why criticism is not constructive? Because it is somewhat here, it is based on some kind of enmity. It's not constructive. It's some personal, it's some false ego. It's on the platform of false ego, right? So that is why then only it becomes Ninda. Please understand this. It's not that simply, oh, I should not say anything to anybody. No, then Prabhupada wouldn't have said anything to anybody. And then ISKCON wouldn't have, come into existence at all. Like, we cannot just let anybody do anything. We cannot, because we have responsibility towards ISKCON, towards Srila Prabhupada. But when it is done with animosity, when we talk, see, simple, it's a very simple thing. If we want to correct somebody, we will approach that person only, all right, or their authority. It's a very forward looking, constructive kind of approach. But if we have some enmity, we will talk behind them, we will criticize them, we will talk ill about them. Actually, I've seen even devotees who've been in the movement for a long time, they have this habit of talking about other devotees. Absolutely not good for our spiritual progress. It is namaparad. So we will not be making as much progress as we should. Right? Of course, it depends on how much of enmity we have. Right? How much of ill will we have towards a person, towards a devotee, right? But it's not good because it's on the platform of false ego. But if it is constructive, if it is towards ensuring that this is Prabhupada's movement, it has to be protected, doing right and wrong is important, very constructive. And if it follows the spiritual authority, the, you know, levels, then it is absolutely not sadhu ninda. And people in position should not think that it is sadhu ninda and then close their eyes, thinking that, oh, if I say something that will become then Vaishnava Aparad, then I cannot make progress. Is this clear? This whole concept of sadhu ninda? Any questions, anybody? Okay. If by chance this offense occurs, yes,
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhu, sorry.
Yeah.
Prabhu, what is my position?
What is your position? What is your position? A wife of a guru is a guru. Is has to be considered as, yeah. So
no, Prabhu, because
like
okay.
if Anukula Prabhu is considered is at the position of president, then you also have to get that same respect.
No, Prabhu. I'm not asking president or this president. I'm not getting into that at all because I mean, see that
that's fine.
that position. Neither do I want to get into it, and neither do I want to be in. I'm talking into a day-to-day life. Me being a devotee, I'm trying to be a devotee. Yeah. Like, what is my position? Because there is there is criticism. It is both.
You already answered your question. You said he is a devotee, and you said you are trying to be a devotee. That itself answers.
Yeah, answers yes, but what about? See, then I gave you a second line. The animosity of it and the criticism of it, because I mean, like I live in a family, and many a times like it is wavering. What is?
Yeah. So one thing, Mataji, which you can think about, which is whether it is criticism, whether it can be constructive, whether that whatever if it is just coming out of false ego, some emotions towards husband, or can it be? See, actually, it's a very interesting question. Previously the women used to. It's not that women used to just keep silent about everything that is happening in the house, right? Obviously, men would do something right, something wrong, but women had a very beautiful way of approaching it, which is through love and affection. And actually, Prabhupada says many times, right? Shyness. Right? There is a way to tackle these things. We don't have to take everything head on. Right? This is the problem with the current generation, right? Actually, we want to take everything head on. We think that, I take it up head on and then, that's my way. But actually, previously, it never used to be head on. It always used to be, very subtle, very indirect, but it used to accomplish the task. Right. So it's not that, if you see, and again, there are two things here, Mataji. One is if it is a spiritual topic, if it's a spiritual topic, then we should know who is more knowledgeable, who knows the Shastra better, and then we go with that. Right. But if it is material, it might be that the husband is not taking a particular view that needs to be taken, considering society, this, that, and all that. And as a wife, you might know better, right? In which case, it's just about educating, right? But is it always necessary to criticize? Is the question to be asked. This is applicable for everybody, right? And this is not just like I keep saying, right? You just reflect, you ask questions which are relevant for all of us, right? In all our houses, most of our houses, we have husband and wife who are devotees, right? And is it required to criticize? or can something be discussed? Can somebody can they sit across and have a conversation, trying to understand what the position is or what was the reason why something was said or done. Criticism is when it is actually frustration, right? Criticism happens when we have reached a frustrated state, meaning we have false ego. We don't want to approach the person to discuss it. At the same time, it is just accumulating that how will it come out as criticism? So
Prabhu,
can it?
can I just sorry? Can I just in between interrupt you?
Yeah,
It's
please.
not about that, Prabhu. Sometimes the main problem is I always feel he's much more at in the temple or with the devotees. He's much more understanding and this thing. When it comes to me, and especially my daughter, I always tell him, like I don't know why it is, or I feel like that, and that is where you know a lot of Vaishnava.
Yeah.
I know the
Okay,
criticism
got it.
starts, then Namaste.
Yeah.
Why?
So I think maybe it might be a good thing for that to be discussed, right? Since this point anyway has come up, and you should
I
ideally
can't discuss it.
you should discuss with Prabhu offline and actually understand why is it actually I mean, because you said that maybe you are feeling it, maybe it's not true, maybe it's true, maybe it's something for introspection for him also. So yeah, I mean, I'm saying it's something to be discussed, and actually I've in my own spiritual life I've realized that I used to be so cut and dry about things, saying that this has to be done full stop, right? And then I realized saying that it's not the way, that's not the way to get, actually if you want something to be done also in the right way, then there are other ways. Now I've turned around and I end up asking question. I question in the sense like seeking clarification kind of question. This happened. Is this? Do you think this is correct? I mean, or this is this the right way? What does Shastra say? For example, right? Like simply instead of getting into a conclusion and criticizing, just trying to question and maybe get clarification will actually clear both for us as well as the person who was involved, because that person also will possibly think before answering, and then it can be explained in relation with to a particular instance, saying that okay, if that is what it is, then in this incident, if this was done, is that correct or is that wrong? So it can be just with the mood of learning, right? Actually, I've learned this. I'm see that I can learn from everybody, but I just feel, because of my false ego, I just feel I'm superior. So now slowly and steadily, I'm trying to understand, saying that everybody has something to teach. Why can't I just try to learn? And Bhagavatam talks about Avaduta who had like he is seeing animals and insects as gurus. Why can't I see other Vaishnavas as gurus? Now, I'm sure like nobody is like so disqualified, right? So possibly what all that is me, right? Why should I look at somebody else and say disqualified? So it just requires this change in perspective, a little bit change in approach to the relationship, and which is also I'm connecting this to other things that you've been saying about your expectation. Because see, if these things come on a material platform, it's very difficult to deal with it. That is the reason why we say that we have to have this relationship, we have to deal with other Vaishnavas at home on the spiritual platform, because then it becomes easy. We'll avoid this Vaishnava Prad, because this actually will result in Vaishnava Prad if that person whom we are actually dealing with is more superior to us in bhakti and has good intentions. Without us understanding, if we keep on criticizing, then we will not make progress, right? So if we look at the person on the spiritual platform, then it becomes much easier, right? We will avoid Vaishnava Aparadh. At the same time, our entanglement in material life will reduce. It will actually benefit us in multiple ways. Anyway, it requires a lot of introspection and discussion. Maybe we can even take it up offline. Right, but yeah. So the thing is, it's important for us to be just careful. That's the only point I want to say, right? Especially for see, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said that in the house both husband and wife are Vaishnavas. As soon as we get up, we have to offer obeisances to each other. Um, right. So if we can start with that single process, right, of just vancha kalpatarubhyascha, whenever in the morning we get up, we look at the other Vaishnavas in the house, we just offer obeisances. Actually, our mood will change. our approach to how we deal with them will change. And it's very, very important, because actually that's what we are supposed to be doing, right? Treat each other as Vaishnavas, as devotees in the house. So it will possibly help. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said it, right? Yeah. Any other thoughts, questions?
So Prabhu, I take this, carry this home,
Yeah.
and I promise you, I'll try. I
Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
say I
Yes,
will
Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
completely, but
Yeah.
this is a promise to you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. If by chance this offense occurs, the person should be repentant. See, look at this. See, this also again answers the question that we were discussing, right? See, the repentance. Yesterday I was reading Bhagavatam, and it said Kapil Dev is saying in in the third canto. He's saying that if somebody is doing Jiva Himsa, forget about Vaishnavas. I mean, here we are talking about Vaishnavas. If somebody, you suppose say we are hurting somebody who is even a non-Vaishnava, right? And we are not repentant about it. Lord, Supreme Lord is absolutely not pleased. Is absolutely not pleased, right? So this, if I mean, Jiva Himsa itself is intolerable to the Lord. What about Sadhu Ninda? We can be 100% sure that we will not be making progress, right? The person should be repentant. Why he should be repentant? He should recognize his own low nature. He should recognize his own low nature. Oh, it is, we always want to criticize somebody and pull them down from their position. But here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, first recognize, see your own low nature. See your own low nature. Why? Because we have committed the offense. And we should feel really miserable. It's not an exaggeration. We should understand that, such a responsible position. First is we are a human being. On top of that, we are in the association of devotees. By Srila Prabhupada's Guru's mercy, we are able to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In spite of that, we are still nurturing our low nature. It's such a fallen state. We should be repentant. Every day has to be a practice we should do. Every day when we are chanting Hare Krishna, see, we say, what is the meaning of Hare Krishna? We say asking for service, right? But asking for service in proper consciousness. So before even I ask service, I feel repentant. I beg for mercy when I'm chanting, saying that please, please help me overcome all these anarthas. I can't claim to be a devotee. How can I ask for service? Because again, if you give me service also, I'm going to do with the same mood, which is not good mood. Right? So all our anarthas, we should beg for mercy from Radha Krishna. Please, please, please take this away. I'm not able to. I'm not able to fight it myself. I'm not able to overcome it myself. If you don't have that repentant mood, if we are, I mean, I've told this before also, unless, if you're not crying while chanting, realizing our fallen state, how are we going to make progress? What other part of the day will we sit and pray and be prayerful and introspective and all that? It's chanting. Chanting has to make us conscious about, oh, I'm asking for service. And actually, what are we asking for? We're asking for personal service of Radha Krishna. Actually, that is our goal. Madhurya Rasa means personal service, or any rasa for that matter in the spiritual world, personal service. Then I have to think, oh, I'm asking for personal service. Am I even qualified? Do I even have the bare minimum qualifications to ask for that service? Right? If I have all these anarthas in my heart, how can I ask for this service? So first, let me first purify, but clean myself up. So we should feel repentant. It's a very, very important thing. In the same way that a person who has been burned by fire seeks relief in fire, he should nullify the offense by lamenting, dissolving to come before the Vaishnava. See, fall at his feet, and satisfy him by offering obeisances, praises, and respects. See, just look at this. This is very, very beautiful, right? So somebody whom we have offended, criticized. Now, Shastra is saying that we should actually literally fall at his feet. That means actually there was no reason for us to be criticizing that person. Otherwise, why would we fall at his feet? We should be offering obeisances. We should be offering praises. So when that Vaishnava is praiseworthy and we are criticizing how fallen we are, so he's praiseworthy and he should be respected. Generally, Vaishnavas will simply forgive us. Simply forgive us. They will not even ask for details. They'll just say, no, no, no. Why are you falling? No, nothing. Okay, don't worry. It's fine. Done. Whatever you've done. Right, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srivas Thakur was such an exalted Vaishnava. He says, no, no, he's not done any offense at all. Then all the devotees are saying, if you don't accept that he's done some offense and pardon him, then he will go to hell. So just think that he's done something and you just say pardon. It's like that. If devotees even refuse, saying that no, no, you've not offended me at all, and if the other devotee has actually offended the Vaishnava, then he will still have to suffer for that. It's so grave. So we have to fall. We have to fall at the feet of the Vaishnava. Ask for forgiveness. And when we ask for forgiveness, and it's not with an intention of doing it again, because that will again become a nama prad. Right? If a Vaishnava prays for us, then Krishna will shower mercy. So we can fall at the feet of the Vaishnavas and pray, saying that, please give me mercy so that I don't continue, so that this horrible anartha of mine can end here, right now. I don't want to continue this. I don't want to do this with anybody else. Right? It's a very, very important thing. We should understand that is why it's always nice to praise a devotee. Of course, we should not overdo it, meaning just always just keep and have bad intentions inside, which is not good at all. Right? If it is praise, then it is real praise. It's not praise and then go talk about that person behind his back somewhere else with some other devotee. That's just not acceptable. Mithyachari, pretender, cheater. We should praise, sincerely we should praise, understanding that, see, this Vaishnava is better than me. How? If you just simply sit for a moment and think, we can find 10 reasons why that Vaishnava is better than me. Absolutely. It can be talked about anybody. Right? But we are not, we are just so steeped in false ego. Fortunately, I can talk about myself. Right? So we only see mistakes in others. We only see flaws in others. We don't see their great qualities. Right? So we should always learn to praise. Of course, like I said, it shouldn't be just artificial, first one. And it shouldn't be more than what the devotee. Sometimes, we praise so much and the devotees become embarrassed. We should not do that also. We should in no way, we should become reason for pain for the devotee. If somebody actually doesn't like praise, we can, instead of praising, actually the praise has to get translated into service. If we think that somebody is superior to us, we should just serve that devotee. It's actually automatically praising the devotee. We don't have to even use words. But when we do something offense like this, we should praise. We should, because that praise will actually bring out the good qualities of that person from us, right? And that negativity will go out. But on a normal basis, we don't have to generally keep, flowery, like just flowery language. We are praising, but we don't do anything for them. We don't serve them. We try to treat them as equals to us. That's not good. We don't need to be so verbose, wordy about our praise, but we can simply serve the Vaishnava. We can simply serve the Vaishnava. Right? So this is also, because I've seen a lot of devotees who are externally praising, but behind the back talking. I said, this is not good. This is very cheap. If the Vaishnava is not satisfied, the person should remain ready to comply with his every wish for many days. Of course, this doesn't normally happen. If the offense is so great that the Vaishnava's anger does not die in great remorse, thinking himself most unfortunate to fall into unlimited hells because of his unmitigated offense, he should give up everything else and take shelter of continuous Nama Sankirtana. See, if this is after we seek forgiveness from the Vaishnava, if nothing is happening, then no other recourse except Nama Sankirtana, continuous Nama Japa. By the great power of Nama Kirtana, certainly in time the person will be delivered from his offense. He will be delivered. The Nama is so powerful, right? But we have made a sincere attempt to ask for forgiveness. It's not that we are being duplicitous. We are having that in our mind. Not such people will not get forgiven, right? But we are sincerely feeling remorseful, feeling bad that I shouldn't have done this. But the Vaishnava, for some reason, is not forgiving us. Then we have to just take shelter of Nama. And here Vishwanath Chakravarti is talking, certainly in time that person will be delivered. Certainly. One may think, what is the use of falling at the devotee's feet and admitting my offense? The supreme method for destroying offenses is chanting the name. It is said, the names of the Lord destroy the sin of those who have committed offenses to the name. By tireless chanting of the names, prema will appear. Padma Purana. Thinking in this way, one commits further offense. See, look at this. If you are thinking that why should I go and ask for forgiveness, simply I will chant. But actually, it is another. This results in further offense. Because we'll now just take strength of the holy name, Nama Bala Dese Papa Buddhi, and then keep doing offense, chant Hare Krishna, offense, chant Hare Krishna. So this is very, very dangerous. We have to fall at the feet of the Vaishnava. We have to fall at the feet of the Vaishnava, admitting our mistake. Right? Then if he still doesn't forgive, then we'll take shelter of Nama. Nor should one think that the offense of Sadhu Ninda operates only in relation to Vaishnava, who is fully and perfectly endowed with all the qualities mentioned in the scripture, such as tolerance, mercy, kindness to all living entities. Such a person attempts to minimize his own offense by pointing out some defect in the devotee. So it's not that it is only with the perfect Vaishnava. That's what they're saying. He's saying here. It's not that the Sadhu Ninda operates only in relation to Vaishnava who is fully and perfect. No, with any Vaishnava. Right? It's applicable to all Vaishnavas. Like I said, the spiritual authorities have to be, the hierarchy has to be maintained. Such a person attempts to minimize his own offense. He minimizes his own offense by pointing out some defect in the devotee. So when you are identifying pointing out some defect in the devotee, what does it mean? We are attempting to minimize our own offense. Meaning we are doing something wrong, but instead of bringing that to focus, we are simply criticizing the other devotee. That's all. So again, false ego. That's all. Simply. In the same section describing offenses in the Padma Purana, it is said concerning sinful persons who worship the Lord. O Brahmana, persons devoid of proper conduct, who are duplicitous, who cheat the world by their vratas, who are proud, addicted to liquor, and wicked, who cannot give up sin and are cruel, who are absorbed in wealth, wife, and sons, who are the lowest, become liberated by surrendering to the lotus feet of Govinda. Thus, a devotee who may show some occasional fault should be considered a sadhu. Right? So, this is just explaining, saying that see, it's not just that perfect Vaishnava, any Vaishnava, right? Who is surrendered to the lotus feet of Govinda. He might not have developed all the great qualities, but he should still be respected. And if a great offense has been committed against a Vaishnava, but the Vaishnava does not become angry because of his exalted nature, the offender should still fall. We should not think, oh, anyway, there are great Vaishnavas, they will not mind. No, he should still fall at the devotee's feet, right, and seek ways of pleasing him in order to purify himself. It is not surprising that the materialist claiming that the gross body is the soul constantly. Okay. Though the Vaishnava may forgive offenses, the dust of his feet does not tolerate the offense and delivers the fruits of the offense on the guilty person. So it's saying the Vaishnava is exalted, then it will still have the impact on the guilty person. Sometimes the causeless or fathomless mercy of the powerful, spontaneous, most elevated of Mahabhagavatas in distributing mercies without limit. For instance, even though made to carry Rahugana's palanquin and made the object of king's harsh words, Jadabharat bestowed his mercy. In a similar way, Chedi Raja showed mercy to the atheist Daityas who had come to do him violence. In the same way, Prabhu Nityananda showed mercy to Madhai, even though Madhai had injured his forehead. The offense of Guru Ravagya or disrespect to Guru, the third aparadha, may be considered in the same way as the first aparadha. Okay, so in summary, we should just be careful dealing with all Vaishnavas. That's what it is, right? And if we are constructive, and we are in the position of correcting somebody, we should do it. Actually, it's not, we should not say we can do it. We should do it because it becomes a responsibility. But otherwise, we have to be very, very careful dealing with Vaishnavas. But we should not forget our position. If we are a position of authority, we should exercise that, right? Because otherwise, there'll be nobody telling anybody anything, right, wrong, right? And then that's not good for our society. But see how dangerous it is that even if a Vaishnava forgives, the dust of his feet does not tolerate the offense, right? So we have to be very, very careful. And if the Vaishnava is not forgiving, then we have to resort to the holy name. And Guru Ravagya is can be considered in the same way as the first aparadha, which is Sadhu Ninda. Okay, we will stop here. Any questions? Okay. Okay, then we'll end here. Tomorrow we'll continue with the second offense. Okay. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhubhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.